I really need to like Will and Grace for multiple reasons, but primarily because I kind of bought it twice. Small backstory, so you know where my views are coming from, and then I will get in with the discussion of the episode. Long story short, with buying it twice, I bought the DVD secondhand. Always a risk. The first disc doesn't work. The other discs do. The first doesn't. So I then had to buy the first season on Amazon Prime. So now I have 2 copies. Really need to like it. And I can say, having watched this first episode, I really enjoyed it, which is a relief. And the reason I'm watching it now is because I always meant to. I watched the first episode years ago when I was kind of watching a lot of first episodes to then decide what sitcom I wanted to watch. And at the time, I kind of enjoyed it, but wasn't in the mood for it. Always meant to come back to it. And I'm currently reading one of the best books ever. It's James Burrows' autobiography. It is absolutely delicious. And I'm 2 chapters away from the Will and Grace chapter. I'm currently devouring the Cheers chapters. Cheers is my happy place, my favourite show. And I realised that when I get to the Will and Grace chapter, I will understand the basics, because I have a basic idea of what the show is about, but I wanted more information. Plus, I worship the ground James Burrows works on, so I figured, let's give this a go. Also, Debbie Reynolds appears in a handful of episodes further down the line, so that's another reason why I really wanted to watch this and really wanted to like it, and I'm so thrilled that the first episode is really strong. And actually, there were bits of it I remembered from when I first watched this episode. I think maybe 3, maybe even 4 years ago now. I didn't remember it in its entirety, but generally there were some bits that came back to me, and I'm really, really excited. When I review sitcoms or sitcom episodes, I will often go scene by scene and kind of dissect things and share some thoughts. At the moment, I'm not going to be doing that with Will and Grace because I don't have that many thoughts, because I'm still getting to know the characters, getting to know the comedy style. I already have a favourite character. That may change, but so far I'm pretty happy with my choice. So I will talk about the key plot points and share some thoughts. But at least for now, I won't be dissecting anything to the extent that I do with Cheers, for example, but as I progress further with it, and at the very least, I will watch the entire first season because I've paid for it twice, so I'm going to stick with it, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a chore. So we start off with Grace on the phone to Will. We then find out that Jack is moving in with Will. They are friends, they are both gay. And at the moment, it seems like Will and Jack are very different people, which I think is great, because we have 2 gay characters. Only one is kind of a stereotype. This is Jack. Jack is played by Sean Hayes, and he is, so far, without question, my favourite character. I know it's early days, but I absolutely love him. He kind of reminds me, based purely on this first episode, of a combination of Niles Crane and Alan Harper. Neither of whom are gay characters, but nevertheless, that's who he reminds me of so far, and I'm really excited to see what they do with this character. Will is played by Eric McCormack, and Grace is played by Debra Messing. And Grace, she's had a fight with her partner Danny, so she comes over and she's going to be staying there with Will, and, well, Jack comes over with his luggage and finds out Grace is staying, and his response, basically, as soon as we meet Jack, I was very much in love with the character, and we meet Grace's assistant Karen, played by Megan Mullally, and she's quite an interesting character. I think I'm keen to find out more about her. I don't know how much we'll find out about her early on. She's definitely the kind of character about whom we don't know much for quite a while. And then over time we'll get bits of information. I could be wrong about that. This is just me purely speculating on the role this character will play further down the line. And Grace decides to break it off with Danny, and she does. We don't get to see Danny. But the next thing we know, she says that he actually proposed to her, and she said yes. And Will told her he didn't think it was a good idea. And she didn't like to hear that. And the next thing we know, Will goes to see Grace. She's not there, but Karen is, of course. And then Grace comes in her wedding dress, very emotional. Will had got into her head and made her realise that this isn't what she wants. And she gets It's so stupid, but I enjoyed it a lot. She gets her veil stuck in the door, or her train, I think it was her veil, and just kind of pulls her head backwards. I'm not one for physical comedy. There are times, of course, there are definitely times, but in general, when it comes to comedy, I prefer witty dialogue or dry humour over physical comedy, but that really made me laugh. I think that and Jack's entrance and how he reacted when he found out that Grace was staying there. I think those were my two highlights in terms of the comedy. And Grace and Will have a heart-to-heart, and then they go and get drunk, and it was a nice moment. And then they kiss. Obviously, they're kissing because the people in the bar are telling them to kiss. She's in a wedding dress, and it's unusual for a pilot episode to end in a kiss. And they just kind of shrugged it off and they didn't feel anything. And I like that. I like that they were kind of saying straight away, this isn't going to be one of those, well, the character's gay, but maybe he's questioning his sexuality. Maybe he has a thing for Grace. I like the fact that straight away they're saying, no, this is not the road down which we're going. This is a platonic relationship. And I kind of like that. And I'm really, really excited. Really, really happy for a pilot episode to be this strong, for me to have two laugh out loud moments, one of which at physical comedy. That's a really good sign. And I'm very, very, very excited for the next. Not that I'm surprised. James Burrows is amazing. I don't think there's anything James Burrows has directed that I've seen that I haven't enjoyed. Yes, there are, of course, episodes of certain TV shows that are maybe not the strongest of episodes, very few and far between though. But in general, if James Burrows' name is attached to it, I'm probably going to enjoy it. And Will and Grace went on for a very long time. I know we also have the more recent seasons, which came out, I think, 12 years after it finished. I think they were released, they came out in 2017. I'll worry about watching those when I get there. For now, my plan is to just make it past the first season, but I don't think it's going to be a struggle. The pilot is very strong. The characters so far seem very well written. Performances are really good, of course. And to have, for me, two laugh out loud moments, and I don't laugh out loud very much at sitcoms. I just don't. So when something makes me laugh out loud, that is a really strong sign. And for that to happen twice in the pilot, one with physical comedy, I'm very much looking forward to finding out what the rest of this season has in store. I had a feeling I'd like it. I was very hopeful. And, well, now I have two copies. One of the discs doesn't work. But nevertheless, I have a digital copy and a hard copy. I'm one episode in. And I don't think it's going to be long before I'm able to call myself a fan of Will and Grace.